Unapologetic Ron video I was talking about. The video where people are gonna see my true face. Alright. So I'm talking to Brennan, Cleveland. Now, trigger warning, I'm gonna say some shit people ain't gonna wanna hear. I'm gonna say some shit that people ain't gonna like to hear. And I'm gonna say some shit that, well, it has to be said. Now, Brennan, Cleveland, I want you to understand something. I called you alone, a house nigger, not another person on this planet, you. And you responded by calling me a nigger, and I said, okay, it's cool. I've been told by my friends that, hey, I'm a nigger, and these are my black friends. And I'll explain the context a little bit later in the video. But I'm gonna point something out to you. When I made that comment and called you that, Brendan, I was citing Malcolm X. Yeah, I know. A bald-headed white boy with a white trash goatee talking about Malcolm X on YouTube. The shit you find on the internet. And my head's shaved because I'm bald. Yeah. Don't be all confused and shit. It's not like I'm a skinhead or anything. Now, Brendan, you gotta understand, I'm gonna put a link down here to that speech from Malcolm X. And I want you to understand that, if you listen to the speech in the entirety, Malcolm X was talking to black Americans, his fellow black Americans. But if you listen to the speech in its entirety, he directed that speech towards all Americans. And he wasn't talking about race as so much as mentality, the way you think, the disease in your mind. Now, if we're going to be honest, I called you a house nigger like, 3-4 months ago? Then you popped up and I called you that again. And here's the thing, you've been trying to race bait me all to hell with this shit. And the reason it's been done is because, like I mentioned on Carson's Corner, I get a lot of my support from black Americans, from minorities. People who have experienced police brutality, people who have experienced the corrupt court system, people who have experienced, public pretenders, and how fucked up our industrialized court system is that basically abuses and enslaves fellow Americans. Now, I say enslaves because slavery in America never truly was abolished, because slavery's legal if you've been convicted of a crime. And it's really easy to convict you of a crime if the cops are falsifying evidence, the prosecutor's lying covered up, and your public defender, supposed public defender, public pretender more like it, is basically telling you to take a plea bargain and trying to sell you the fuck out. Because they really don't do their job. Now, that being said, that's reality. That is something that any American, and we don't even have to talk about minorities, we can talk about any American at, below, or just above the poverty line has experienced. Straight up. Simple as that. But see, you don't want to make this about anything but causing problems for me. So you went to Marlo, and there's going to be another video link down below. See, Marlo isn't just my student. Marlo isn't just my friend. Marlo's motherfucking family to me. Alright? People don't attack your friends to try to scare you or to frighten you or to attack you to get you to do something they don't want you to do. They go after your family. And you know what? Those same crooked ass cops went after Marlo and his brother to get to me. They tried to use false charges against Marlo to get Marlo to flip on me to save Eric. And it didn't happen. And if you look at that video down there, that video shows where I went and I got evidence about the prosecutor's office having exculpatory evidence they never turned over to Marlo as public defender. Dangerous thing. Violation of civil rights and such. That case actually has it where I have proven that the cops falsified evidence against Marlo and his brother. And I went and fought for them and got evidence proving all this fucking shit to help get the false charges brought against them dropped. Now, this is what I'm going to tell you. You ain't going to get it. You ain't going to understand it. Because your mind isn't there to understand. See, you tried to insult me by calling me a nigger. That doesn't insult me. You might not realize this, but I do not identify myself as white. I mean, I marked a little box on paper and shit because that's what the world defines for me. But that's not how I define myself. Because here's the thing. White people don't experience police corruption, police harassment, fucking prosecutors falsifying evidence, cops falsifying evidence, all this other shit, trying to slander your name and tear you the fuck down. They don't experience that. But I did. When I was a kid, I grew up poor. Single mom. My dad wasn't around. And my mom put me through all these martial arts classes and stuff, trying to get, good male role models in my life. I dealt with fucking abusive, fucking mental case fucking uncles and all kinds of shit. And here's what I'm going to tell you. See, you might not understand this. You might not understand that struggle. I do. And I tend to understand it to an extent that most of my friends growing up were black. And see, here's the thing about it. I will fucking say shit and I will do shit that most other white people can't get away with because the people who know me know I'm not racist. If I was racist, I would have been like, hey, yo, Marlo, Eric, nice for whatever, here, go deal with yourself. You're fucked, bye. Didn't do that. If I was racist, I would not tell you and mean it when I say that Marlo is a better man than me. That Marlo is a better person than me. He has far better character than I do, far more self-discipline, and it's just a better person, period. His father raised him right. I wasn't around. But I'll tell you what, I said it. See, what you don't understand, Brennan, is that you are over here pushing lies about me with your little bullshit martial arts group of your little fucking conspiracy theory group. And don't tell me you don't exist, you're not some little conspiracy fucking band of bitches, because Icy Mike has even mentioned you guys as that in his interview with Bob Carson. So we have a person who's not my friend saying, yep, that's who they are, that's who these guys. And see, your whole race baiting thing is really amusing because, Brennan, what kind of black man who is against racism or claims to be against racism refers to himself as Lord Sapiens? Now, you mentioned before, you've mentioned on the OG, you mentioned a couple other places that you have practiced full contact taekwondo and all this other stuff. You've also mentioned you're about 3,000 miles away, which would put you right about where you're at in Itaewon. So here's the thing. You've been trolling me, and I pretty much figured it out as you just from that alone, but then a few other little things threw up. And here's what I'm telling you. You mentioned on street beefs, because you had to go to street beefs, because there's a lot of minorities in street beefs who might actually, support me dealing with the police harassment and everything else. You went over there to try to, convince them I'm a bad person, that shit didn't happen. You guys even got up there, like, quoting the police report. And you know what? I tell you what. I would love to see, because y'all say I'm narcissistic. Okay, that's cool. Whatever. I think highly of myself. Yes, the fuck I do. I have struggled my entire life. I've fought my entire life, and I'm better now today than what I was fucking 10 years ago. I've taken my lumps. I've given some lumps. It don't matter. The point is, nothing in this world will fuck you harder than life. And not in that good, happy way that we all like. No, 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 no. Now, see, Brennan, being blunt, honest, and unapologetic, you basically got up here spreading lies about me, slandering me, tried to race bait me into a whole bunch of shit so you can get up here and try to, you know, convince a bunch of people who have been abused by the system that I'm not abused by the system, that I'm a racist, and therefore they should ignore the abuses that happened to me, and they should accept them and be happy for them and be glad the system is working to fuck me over and all this other shit. Because these people will sit there and look at the same casework and be like, huh, look at that. He did get set up. That shit don't make sense. Now see, that is the very definite, and you know what, you've gone out of your way to slander my name and everything. You have literally tried to define me as some type of piece of shit in every way, form that you could get your hands on. You've basically tried to treat me, well, like a nigger. Just being blunt honest about it. And see, nigger don't mean black. Nigger is what they called slaves. What they call people who were treated as less than human, people who were low on the totem pole and considered pieces of shit. We got other names for nigger in society, white trash, redneck, whatever. You know, it don't matter. Skin color don't matter, because if you listen to what Malcolm X said, I know, a fucking white boy with a shaved head and a white trash goatee talking about Malcolm X on YouTube. But if you actually listen to Malcolm X's speech, he was talking about mentalities, and he wasn't talking about skin tone. And the thing about it is, you acting just like a house nigger, trying to convince other field niggers who felt the fucking lash of the master, the lash of the fucking system, fucking oppressing them, and you trying to get them to be divided against each other for the simple fact that one's light-skinned, one's dark-skinned. That's it. Let's make it about skin tone. Let's make it about all this other shit. See, Brennan, there's a disease in America that has, like, gripped us because of politics. This grip that we have of denying the problems that we have. We do have problems of institutionalized racism. We do have problems of abuses of the system. We do have problems of organizations which are supposed to protect the civil rights of American citizens, only protecting the civil rights of certain citizens to create a false narrative that only minorities are being punished and to cause division among Americans. Regardless of nationality, skin tone, religion, race, whatever the fuck you want to use as a barrier or a division from something else. Here's the thing. That infamous speech with Bruce Lee, where they asked him if he saw himself as American or Chinese, and he says, I see myself as a human being. I resonate with that. On the outside, I look white. But on the inside, I've been treated like a fucking field slave. And I've been struggling and beat down my entire life with people trying to define me as anything but the person that I am. So when some sellout Uncle Tom motherfucker like you comes along and tries to race bait and cause division and everything else, it shows me that there's a very real fear that you're scared of people listening to what I have to say. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm not apologizing for calling you a house nigger. For anybody else that I offended because of that, just understand, I'm just saying there's only two niggers on this planet. That's me and Brennan. That's it. No one else. No one qualifies. I don't give a fuck about the color of your skin, what religion you have, what country you come from, what culture that has influenced your beliefs. I'm telling you, I don't give a shit. You're a human being, same as me. Alright? If you're an American citizen, you have the same rights as me, because we got these borders and constitutions and laws and government and shit that say that you have these rights, and other countries that have these laws and borders and governments and shit, some of them don't say you do. And here's what I'm telling you. I'm not a racist. I don't give a fuck about race or whatever. I want to clear that. I want to clarify that. But like I said, I'm citing Malcolm X. I mentioned Malcolm X. And here's the thing about it. I love listening to some of his speeches. That man is blunt, brutally honest, And he doesn't pussyfoot around. He's very unapologetic in any of the things he says. And you have to have a little bit of a thick skin to listen to some of his speeches because he does not pull any punches. And I could just imagine listening to some of his speeches. You know, Samuel L. Jackson's character from Django Unchained. Sitting there like, who the hell is this uppity nigger here? You know what I mean? The black guy, the house slave, like, just going the fuck off. Because Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, and there are more. There are more. Muhammad Ali, that got out there and actually like bucked on the system and got up and showed that they seen themselves as something more than what society wanted to find them just by the color of their skin. And you know what? You acting just like the rest of that society, trying to define me, not as a human being, not as who I am, but by the color of my skin and by what the system tells you I am, knowing and covering up for a system which lied and falsified evidence and was corrupt to the core. See, it's like this. I know you can't understand this. I don't think you can understand this. I don't think you've had to struggle to understand this. But I'm going to tell you anyways. But the people who know, who watch this video, will understand. See, it's not about race. It's not about color. It's about being American. We are Americans, and we need to come together and realize that there's a fucking problem in this country. We need to realize that fighting amongst ourselves is nothing more than letting, and I'm gonna continue with the plantation metaphor that Malcolm X laid out, letting the house niggers divide the field niggers, so the field niggers don't rise up before Master gets out of that burning house. Because the American economy is doomed. The American empire is crumbling at the edges. And even though Donald Trump is doing everything he can to save it, eventually it will fall. And when it does, it's going to come down on us, the people out in the field picking cotton. Now see, I understood Malcolm X's plantation metaphor. And if you listened to his speech, link below, he started off talking to black Americans. He started off talking about slavery and using that American plantation metaphor. Talking about, you know, the history of black culture here in America, how it originated with the slaves. And everybody got along with it. Yeah, we can understand that. And then he turned around and said, but then you got a lot of white niggers too. What? And then he talked about people in the government and how they had that slave nigger and house nigger mentality. And he wasn't talking about the color of our skin. He wasn't talking about anything but our mindsets, because we are all stuck in this great American plantation together. And it's about to fall down. See, Brennan, I can be unapologetic. I can say shit that most motherfuckers won't say. I got no problem with that. I will come to you honest as hell, because here's what you don't understand, alright? I've been treated like shit my entire life. Told I'm nothing but a piece of shit my entire fucking life. And I've been told I'm narcissistic because I believe that I'm better than what people want to tell me I am. Simply because I grew up in a fucking trailer park. And I grew up poor. And I grew up without a daddy. And I didn't have a father's knows best lifestyle. And I wasn't one of the preppy kids and all this other stupid shit. I'm not going to let someone define who the fuck I am. Ever. I'm not going to let you do it. I'm not going to let fucking goddamn corrupt ass government do it. I'm not going to let anyone else define who I am but me. Now this country needs to have a brutally honest discussion about race and politics and the shit that's wrong in this country. And we can't do that without offending each other. So you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take your race bait. That's why I jumped on it. That's why I called you a house nigger. Because I wanted to make a point that we in America need to come together and we need to realize our place. All these people thinking, oh, it's okay, I'm white. Nah, motherfucker. No. If you below a certain income line, that shrinking middle class, if you on the bottom rung of that middle class, the middle to the bottom rung of that middle class, you picking cotton. You know, if you a doctor or a lawyer or some shit like that, they might let you slide. If you you know, work for the government, then you just nothing more than another motherfucker cracking a whip. And you can define other people and use the excuses that, oh, they're criminals, they're white trash, they're black, they're this, they're whatever. You can do that. But we have to look at this honestly as an unapologetic, brutally honest people to see who we are and where we are. See, for all these racists out here that think, oh, I'm better simply because of the color of my skin, nah, motherfucker, you ain't. See, I learned that a long time ago. It was easy for me to look at human beings, regardless of their skin tone, and see people that wanted to be loved and respected and treated like fucking human beings, and to connect with that. Which is why I generally have more friends that are not white. Because I've been to that position in my life to where I've been beaten down and treated like shit to the extent that I just want to be treated like a fucking human being and not have somebody else defining me as something that I'm not, telling me I'm something that I'm not, trying to destroy me based on what they think I am, or because they want to say I'm something that I'm not, to push their own agenda to make themselves feel better up here, say they're better than me, because they're not. See, Brennan, I kind of ranted here for about 20 minutes, and I apologize for the long video. But I'm telling you, there's a difference between me and you. And that difference is a mentality, it's not skin tone. That difference is how we see the world and the struggles that we've been through, not our fucking skin tone. See, I don't have a problem defining myself as a nigger. Because regardless of my skin tone, I realize that's how the government and a bunch of other fucked up motherfuckers see me. They don't see me as white, they see me as another fucking nigger. I should be picking cotton or locked in a cage somewhere doing somebody's bidding, and I shouldn't be some uppity little asshole that talks shit and stands up for himself. But see, I can look at people like Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. I can see what they did. And I don't see it as, look, Black History Month, this is how far we came as a country, and this is what the black people had to go through. I see it for what it is. It's what Americans had to go through to get treated with respect. So you know what? I'm unapologetic. I'm blunt as a motherfucker. I will tell you this is who the fuck I am and not give a shit. Because you know what? I got no other choice. I have to be that person. Because if I'm not, nobody else is going to be that person for me.